All right, welcome to the bonus round. You made it this far. Now, these problems are very challenging. If you are in my medical science class or if you are in my regular science class, these are optional. If you're up for the challenge, go right ahead. However, if you are in my pre-AP class, these are mandatory. You have to know how to do these problems. They're challenging in that they have multiple options. For example, for oxygen right here, do you put it in this box or that box? We did one earlier, but that was a lot easier because you kind of stumbled upon it. No matter which box you chose, you would have gotten to the right answer. But for here, you kind of need, big brain time. You need to start thinking about, wait a minute, if I put it in this box, it's only going to go up by 1. But if I put a number in this box, it's going to go by a factor of 2. And if you make a mistake, you might be stuck in a perpetual back and forth, back and forth. It never ends. My advice for you, if you do these problems where an element like oxygen shows up twice on the same side of the arrow, is if you get stuck. In other words, if you are going back and forth for like 5 minutes and you are not coming up with the solution, stop what you're doing, erase everything, start over. But instead of changing this box first, maybe just change this box first, and then everything starts falling in place. So you do need patience for this one. All right, so let's get started. We have C2H6 plus O2 yields H2O plus CO2. As always, here's my yield sign. I'm going to put a dashed line where yield is at, and I'm going to take inventory. We have carbon here, C. We have hydrogen, H. And we have oxygen, O. And I'm going to copy these 3 letters and copy exactly in the same order right here. C, H, O. It just makes comparing a lot easier because I have my C's on the top, my H's in the middle, and my O's on the bottom. And again, even though O shows up twice over here, you only write the O one time because you're counting all the O's. Let's put a number in the box. Number 1. The smallest number you can put in there. Again, you cannot put a 0. That doesn't make any sense. Why you put 0 ingredients? And you cannot put fractions or decimals. It's got to be whole numbers. 1 would be the lowest whole number. 1 times C2 means we have 2 carbon. 1 times H6 means we have 6 hydrogen. 1 times O2, we have 2 oxygen. Move on to the right. 1 times H2 means we have 2 H's. H's over here, so I'm going to put 2 over here. 1 times 1 oxygen is 1 oxygen. 1 times 1 carbon is 1 carbon. Then we have 1 times 2 oxygen is 2. Now, the reason why I'm adding it is because of this. There's a plus sign. We have 1 oxygen here. See, 1 oxygen plus 2 oxygen here. So 1 plus 2 would be 3. We have 3 oxygens. All right, nothing matches. Let's go with the easy one. We have 2 carbon here. We have 1 carbon here. That's an easy fix. Let's just take this out and just put a 2. So now we have 2 carbon, but we also changed the O. So I got to erase this. 2 times 2 is 4. But don't forget, there was an oxygen right here. So I'm going to have to put 1 times 1 is 1. 1 plus 4 is equal to 5. Okay, nothing matches still, but at least we got the carbon, but the other ones still don't match. Again, let me avoid the O's. Let's work on the H. Okay, that one's also pretty easy. I need to go from 2 to 6. Okay, so I have to triple it because 2 times 3 is 6. So if I have to triple my H, let's triple this number. We just skip from 2 and go straight to 3. 3 times 2 is 6. Yay. But we also changed our O. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2 times 2 is 4. So 3 plus 4 would give me 7. Now, that's going to be a problem because I cannot make 2 turn into 7. But we could go over it. So let's try to change this 2 In fact, let's go one at a time. Let me change this 1 to a 2. Okay, this becomes 4. Fine, let's change this to a 3. It's the next biggest number. Okay, it's still too low. Now it's a 6. All right, let's go to the next biggest number, which is a 4. Okay, now we went over. Remember, I cannot put a fraction. Some of you might be like, hey, why don't you put 3.5? Because 3.5 times 2 is 7. You can't have decimals or fractions for the coefficient because we're talking about the smallest particle of matter. You can't have half an O2. Can't do that. So by putting a 4, we went over, which is fine because now we have to come over here. Now here's the problem. Which box do you put a number in? Well, we only need one more oxygen, right? If we could go 7 from 8, we only need one more. There's 2 boxes. This one is 1 oxygen. This one is double oxygen. I'm going to change this one. Now, what if I changed this one instead? I did this earlier before I recorded the video. Say, well, what happens if I change this one? I ended up in like an infinite loop. It was just going back and forth, and I was at it for 5 minutes, and I went way over. You'll never get the right answer this way. Like I said, after 5 minutes, if you're going back and forth, and you're just getting tired, you probably picked the wrong box. So the best thing to do is erase everything, start over. But when you get to this fork in the road, instead of picking this one, say, you know what, I'm going to change this one instead. I'm going to try a different number. Okay. Or a different molecule. So let's change this one to a 4. We're going to go from 3 to 4. Okay, the H's change. 4 times 2 would be 8. But look what happens to the O. 4 times 1 is 4. Plus 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 4, 8. But again, now we got the O's to match, but the H's don't match. We got to go this side. Let's change the H. Let's go one higher. Okay? So we have here, this is the only one with the H on the left side. If we go one higher and put a 2, well, that changes a lot. Because now this 2 times 2 is 4. But look at what happens here. 2 times 6, we went to 12. You're probably thinking, whoa, we overshot that a lot. It's going to happen. Trust the system. Keep doing this, okay? So let's go to this side. We need to change the C's and the H's. Start off with the C. We have to go from 2 to 4. We have to double it, so let's double this. Let's go from 2 to 4. 4C, we now have 4 carbon. But now we change the O's again. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 4 times 1 would be 4. So 4 plus 8, we have a total of 12. Because we have 4 oxygen here. 4 times 1, we have 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 plus 8 is 12. The C's match, but not the H's. Okay, let's change the H. Let's change this H right here. We got to get 12. So let's put a 6, because I already know mental math, 6 times 2 is 12. But now we change the O's yet again. 6 times 1 O would be 6, plus 4 times 2 is 8. 6 plus 8 would give me 14. Come to this side. My C's match, my H's match, but not my O's. So I got to change my O's. Well, I'm trying to get 14. If I put a 7 right here, 7 times 2 is 14. And there. Now everything matched. I mean, it kind of looked hopeless. We kept going back and forth. Every time we changed the number, it affected something else. But eventually, we will get it to match. 4 carbon, 4 carbon, 12 hydrogen, 12 hydrogen, 14 oxygen, 14 oxygen. Here is your final answer. 2 C2H6 plus 7 O2 will yield 6 waters and 4 carbon dioxides. There's your answer. You got to be patient. Keep going back and forth. Eventually the numbers will match. If they don't, stop, erase everything, start over, but try a different box instead, see what you get.